Hey everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today I wanted to talk about the Battle-Hardened Milwaukee. So for those of you who don't know, the Battle-Hardened Milwaukee was a team Classic Constructed event, which is a little bit different from just normal Classic Constructed. Basically, I think from what I understand, teams compete 3v3, and then I'm not entirely sure like how the pairing structure works, but basically, three players go head-to-head against three other players, and then whoever's team kind of like wins the best of three basically gets to win that match basically, which is kind of cool. So this is, I think, the first time that we've had an event like this, maybe, at least in recent memory. And we got some more LL points for Zen off of it, which is really cool. So Naib, I think, was able to get 25 LL points for Zen, which is really awesome. I think he was also the winner of the Battle Hardened Atlanta on a very spicy build, which we'll talk about in a second. But I do want to go over Raven Williams' list first a little bit, just because she won, or she top aided Battle Hardened Charlotte very recently, and then also secured a Battle Hardened second place in the Team Classic Constructed event, and then went on to the next day basically get a PQ top 4, which is really, really impressive. So we'll kind of talk about this list earlier, and we can kind of compare it, I guess, to the Charlotte list as well. But this is kind of very similar to the list before, but basically, like, I think where you're trimming down here like a little bit on like the sound alarms to maybe bring in like a pounding gale, which is basically just like a fourth copy of Mauling Key, which is like kind of reasonable. Very similar to like pouncing key being like a fourth copy of Tiger Swipe. It makes a lot of sense to kind of like have a tutor target, even if it's like kind of below rate, because you're basically, it's just a worse Mauling Key, right? But it's still like kind of good because you can just tutor for it like on demand. It's pretty solid there. And the 1 for 5s just in Zen tend to be very good, especially at the floor where you're like having to keep a 2 card hand, block 6 or whatever. Sending 7 is like the best thing you can do off a 2 card hand, right? Yeah, but for the most part, I think it's like pretty similar to the other lists. Like I think I'm trying to recall the list exactly, but maybe like some changing around on like the react package on the board. Nothing like too out of the ordinary, I think, but just a very, very solid list that I think was piloted very well. Especially if you like back-to-back events, it's like very, very impressive for a list like this. Next, I want to talk about Naib's list. So he was, I think, running Tooth and Claw before, and I think he's back to his Tooth and Claw shenanigans here, which is very, very cool. So I think the last time in the Battle Hard in Atlanta, if I recall correctly, he was actually only running 2 Tooth and Claw, but now he's, and I think that was also with like a mix of like Harmony the Hunts and stuff like that, but now he's actually on all 3 copies of Tooth and Claw, so he is a believer in the Tooth and Claw action here. And I think he's running less like Tiger Gen overall. Like he's running like the Incants and then the Harmony Hunts, but like the red and yellow like Harmony Hunts are kind of gone from his previous list. And I think in its place he's just running some like very solid combo cards. So we got like the 2 Breed Angers, very similar to I think Ravens. No, so sorry, Raven is only on 1 Breed Anger, but two Breed Angers, some Mauling Key, and then I think the reason we're cutting on Mauling Key here is to basically kind of make room for a lot of finishers. So we have Key Unleashed as well. We have like the Gust Wave, the second wind is just like good tutor targets. And then we also have 2 Sound the Alarms, very similar to Raven's list. And then just a very kind of healthy smattering of blues. And also just a very good kind of like popper package in the board, as well as like decent reacts into like new and stuff, which is pretty sick. I think I also moved this Key Unleashed to the board. I don't know exactly where this Key Unleashed belongs, so I'm assuming it's probably in the board, but we can maybe like swap it out anyways. But yeah, I wanted to actually try Naib's list today because I think he's on Quick Dodge Flexors, which was a card that I want to especially try into Aurora, just because I think that there might be something to it. And again, a lot of lists in the Colin Kobe did see success with Quick Dodge Flexors, so I'm curious if that's specifically into Aurora, if it's for someone else. I'm assuming it's just for Aurora because obviously Aurora is the most popular deck right now. And yeah, just it seems like a very solid, just good mid-range package here. Basically, like I think most of the cards in here basically block for 3, except like Growls and 100 Winds, I guess. But like Growls and 100 Winds are like pretty low opportunity cost, just like a 0 for 3. Gogan, which are pretty solid. Yeah, but a very solid list here. The one wax off is a little bit of a puzzle to me, but maybe the idea is to try to like synergize it with the Sound the Alarm. Maybe you only want to tutor 1 copy of it or something. I don't fully understand this, but definitely maybe is like a deck building cost consideration or something like that. Yeah, but we're gonna actually try out Naib's list today. So again, we've kind of tried out his previous Tooth and Claw list. I want to see if this Tooth and Claw list is any better. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into the games. All right, so we got a Fang. I think I still like going second to Fang. Also, if I didn't mention it before, this list obviously got first place in the Team Classic Constructed Battle Hardened, which is also why kind of we're talking about it. I might not have labeled that before, but in case that wasn't obvious. So let's go ahead. Do we want flicks in this matchup? It's definitely a consideration. Kind of almost just want to try out the base 60 and just see how it performs. CNC is notably like not amazing in Fang though. So maybe I could see the reacts just to stave off some fealty tokens. Yeah, let's try something like this. I think that's reasonable. CNC into Fang is like whatever, just because they normally have Crown anyways. But this is a very, very good hand. Problem with this hand is obviously it doesn't block, but if they don't attack into us, we're pretty happy with it. I think we can either give Tiger Swipe here or we can give Hermia in here. I feel like I'm gonna give Tiger Swipe here and just in case they like don't go for filtering. It seems like they're just going for the Long Whisker for pump. So leak in 1 damage. That seems fine to me. All right, swinging it with the other one. So it's pretty unlikely this is going to get pumped. Oh, we're on quick dodge, which maybe we probably shouldn't be in this matchup, but that's okay. I kind of just didn't look at the sideboard, but I don't think it's like that bad. We'll do our best to make use of them, but I don't think we're going to block this. I think we're basically just going to let this hit. If they want to go off an Arsenal to like leak 4 or 5 damage, I think that's fine. But yeah, you probably shouldn't be running quick dodge into Fang, but it might not matter that much. But this is a very good hand to start it off. And we get to Arsenal Transcend, which is also quite nice. So, yep, let's go ahead and just double Transcend here. We get to preserve the Tiger Swipe back, which is kind of why I blocked. Gain some resources. And I don't think we're going to worry about IPing Chi since we already have a Chi that we can Arsenal here. So we might as well just get the most efficient thing, which is probably just Key Unleashed at this point, right? Probably. All right, we're gonna get Crown out of the way, which maybe is making me regret the choice to blur out the CNCs, but that's okay. I think most like Fang players will attempt to just like sandbag Crown for CNC, but maybe their hand just needed the fixing. Also a possibility. Why is it going to resolution step? That's also kind of weird. Talishar might be a little bit drunk tonight. Seems like they're also running above 60, which is kind of interesting. All right, we're apparently always going to be. Wait, what? Hold on, sorry. Something is weird here. Hold on. Sorry. Pass. That was bizarre. What the heck is going on? Okay, so might be something weird going on with Talishar tonight. But at least we do get to resolve Key Unleashed. I'm very curious what was causing that weird resolution step thing. Because it seemed like it wasn't letting us tutor cards, which is not normally how it works. Yeah, but that was a very strange little glitch there. I guess we can kind of work around it at least. But yeah, Key Unleashed is actually a card it's been in and out of my deck just for consistency reasons. I feel like I'm tempted to add it back in, but there's definitely like kind of some amount of deck building cost to it. All right, this hand's very, very good. So we might just transcend for the rest of the game. So we probably don't even need to use Traverse here if we don't need to. Or if we don't want to, rather. So what's our play next turn? We can go like 100 wins. We can do like 100 wins buff, get another 100 wins, Tiger, Pouncing Key, Winds of Eternity or something. You can also just get a Key Unleashed. It's probably better, right? But then we don't have the extra Tiger for the Pouncing Key. I don't know what the most efficient line is, but like we still just have Transcend, so it's going to be efficient probably regardless. All right, Perforate. Yeah, that's I think fine. So we get an extra attack on Dagger this turn. Seems good. As long as they're not generating fealty this turn, I kind of don't care. Seems like they're maybe having a little bit of inefficiency here. Seems like they're also getting the resolution step, whatever that is. All right, coming in for 7, pretty decent. Again, I don't think we're really in a big rush to block or anything. I feel like we could have actually used quick dodge this turn, but like then we're just like kind of not playing super efficiently, I feel like. Say this is fine. Ooh, one thing we could also do is do Hunter Winds, give Winds of Eternity go again with the path well traveled, then do Tiger, Pouncing Key, Mauling Key. That's kind of tempting. Then we can Arsenal the Rising Sun, obviously. Kind of down with that. So they have one more dagger swing here, which is like fine. So it gets down to 23, but they've also like used up all their armor, and we're sending a 5-card hand at them, so still don't think they're in a great spot. Yeah, but apparently it's always the resolution step here. All right, so we'll do 1 into 5, go again. Pretty solid. Don't often get to give Winds of Eternity go again, but here we are. Notably, the Tiger is only going to be representing +1, but it's kind of like okay. And yeah, I think we definitely don't want to be playing. We definitely don't want to be playing Quick Dodge, I think, in this matchup. I feel like Strides is probably just way more solid. But we'll go ahead and give the Winds go again here, gain a resource. And I think we have to close chain here to tutor, which is normally not how it works, but let's go ahead and do it anyways. And maybe so we can grab Breed, but Breed doesn't do anything. I think it's still just Mauling Key for the guaranteed damage. Like we're basically sacrificing 4 or 5. It's the only copy of Mauling Key, which I feel a little bit weird about. It's definitely a little bit different than how I feel like I normally play, because I feel like Mauling Key is just one of the better cards in general. But I think with the amount of chain enders he's running, it kind of makes sense. So go ahead and arsenal that, and we're just kind of cooking here. I feel like there's no real reason to use Flick here. We can just like Arsenal Flick if we need to. We'll just pass. We're not going to get like the other half of the value out of it, so I don't see like a strong reason here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and just take the Fire Vein. All right, pop into fealty to Scar Tissue. That's kind of okay. Flick doesn't obviously fully cover that. Maybe it's still fine to like use Flick though, just to like get it out of our hands so that we can get a random arsenal. Is random arsenal like better though? Could also try to go for the triple levels, but that seems like a little bit greedy to just like throw away our traverse like that. So I think we're gonna just let this hit. They can get a grain and the mark on us because they're still only at 1 fealty. So I think I'm very okay. So they're going to hunt the hunter, play another red card, mark them. So we're double marked here. So I guess kind of benefited from not blocking there. Then I guess we'll go ahead and just flick this, and then they can, I guess, reapply the mark. Don't think there's like a strong reason to flick there, but I do just not want to like brick basically, especially with the quick dodge. This is like assuming they block out. So let's go ahead and pitch the wax off, and then Rising Sun Transcend. Harmony Hunts, I mean, basically the same card, right? Is it the same card though? Like, this one. This is basically one. I mean, they're both kind of like 1 damage, right? I guess I'd rather have an incant in the deck. I've not considered this very thoroughly. All right, let's go ahead and get Chase, and then we'll probably just do draw. Draw go. All right, sound the alarm fits the curve here perfectly. So that's very nice. And I guess it also gives us a little bit of information about their hand. All right, let us tutor there too, which is very weird. Maybe because we were before the resolution bug or whatever. Very, very strange. So we get to go 1, 4, 3. Okay, if that all you got's not like super efficient here because we're not carring. So I'm kind of okay with this. All right, let the chase go through. I do definitely think we could have played maybe a little bit tighter because there's like a semi-real chance they like kind of block out here. I guess if they do that, they like lose fealty though. So maybe against Fang, it's like pretty likely that they'll just keep attacking into us. All right, Soundly Alarm will give us some very good information on their hand though. Ooh, so we will get to tutor Flick. Do we want to Flick though? So they have Proclaim Vengeance or React, and then do we care about that? I mean, I guess they get to like do some stuff. I guess Flick is probably better than nothing. It's probably fine. Like we probably don't need the Flick realistically, but could I guess be useful. Yeah, it kind of does make a little bit of sense to just block out here. Because then if they block out, then we're kind of left with like whatever we're drawing. I wonder if tutoring there is actually incorrect. I guess they do get to draw, so maybe they are kind of forced to send something. My thinking here is like, are they forced to attack into us? And I think the answer is not necessarily yes. All right, let's go ahead and just throw a traverse in front of this. Again, we're pretty safe from dying. And like we got a pretty substantial tempo advantage here. All right, so there's the Proclaim, and they also got an Imperial Intent off the top. Very cool. So they're going to be able to get to 2 fealty here, but still a little bit of a ways off. So what's the most efficient line here? We start with Kakara. What do we tutor here? Tutor like Breed Anger. Or we tutor a 0 cost, I guess, right? And then just E-Strike. Oh, it's doing a thing again. All right. I need to remember to close. So actually, we lose out on damage here if we don't do that, though. That's so weird. All right. I guess we'll lose the 1 Kakara damage because, again, Talishar is being a little bit wonky here. So we should have, like, extra 1 on this. And then 5 on the swipe. Then 5 here, 5 here. It's pretty good. But again, we probably should have, like, 1 extra damage just because we had to, like, close the chain because Talishar is being a little bit weird. But that is okay. They work very hard on keeping Talishar maintained, so you never criticize the Talishar dev, right? They're probably some of the hardest working people in the community. All right, and then sound the alarm. I don't think we want to actually tutor here. I think we'll just let this go. And it seemed like they scooped it up. So that seemed like pretty solid even without the these strides, which I think we do want. Talishar is definitely being a little bit weird, so we might cut the video short tonight, but let's see if we can at least try to get 1 more. All right, got a Verdance. So Verdance is definitely one of the matchups that I'm like a little bit concerned about. Let's go ahead and run our AB1 though. And then what do we want against Verdance? It's probably just the normal 60. Could also run the additional Key Unleash if we want over like Wax Off. My concern in Verdance with this specific version of the deck is that like Strides definitely gets a little bit awkward because they're not always going to be attacking you when you want to be attacked. Let's I guess go ahead and give this a shot. So going second, they're on Surgent, which I don't know which one is like honestly better for Zen. It honestly feels like Surgent might be easier, but I don't have like a very good basis for that, I guess. All right, this hand works perfectly though. Let's go ahead and grab, probably just grabbing what here, like Tiger Swipe. We don't really need to like Arsenal Tiger. We could also get Aspect if we wanted to, and then Arsenal Tiger. So I guess the question is like, do we want to Arsenal Tiger? I feel like the answer is probably yes, right? Like I feel like we almost always want to probably just Arsenal this extra Tiger. The one awkward thing here is that if they go for Stonewall, we might have to like use this Tiger, or like use the Tiger we would have arsenaled. But I think that's kind of reasonable. So they're not really going to get a good window to Stonewall here. But obviously, resolving a chase aspect on turn 1 is generally quite good, as well as developing a chi. Pretty good opener hand. All right, interesting that they're blocking with the mental block instead of pitching it. Or discarding it, rather. But maybe they just didn't need the ponder token or whatever. All right, group bound for 1 coming in. And then we'll just finish with the Tiger for 4. So we'll get a nice little Tiger set up for Arsenal, hopefully kind of unbrick our future turn, and then pass back. All right, the Tooth and Claw has appeared. Unfortunately, we're just hitting like the nuts off Transcend. So maybe we don't even necessarily need the tooth and claw. All right, so what did they have? They pitched root bound. So I guess we're just saying no blocks on this. If they want to go for like a surge, we can always just pay into it. Which I guess we will do here. And then how do I guess we want to pay into it? We can just pay with aspect here, and it's kind of fine. So go ahead and just pay the 1. So we're obviously taking 1 extra damage, but we're forcing them to like commit to something. So go ahead and just YOLO Harmony. It's never really a YOLO if you have a Transcend card in hand. Okay, hitting a Growl is not the end of the world. And we'll lead off on Tiger, which they obviously shouldn't Stonewall, but if they did, it would actually be like kind of good. All right, go ahead and get a resource. And I guess we'll just resolve another chase, right? No real reason. Oh wait, we might need to do the sorry. We might need to do the thing where we close. Oh, we can't even do the thing where we close the chain anymore. Oh wow, this is like actually terrible. Okay. So Talishar is like actually being like very, very weird right now. Let's, I guess, close the chain. This is something that we only have to do on Talishar, which is kind of annoying. But I guess we can do like 4 into 5 Arsenal Tiger. Like normally the best play there is obviously just chase the tail, but because of Talishar, it's being a little bit wonky tonight. So I guess we'll just get 4 Go on this. This is obviously not the optimal play, but this is the play that lets us like actually tutor a card because of that weird interaction. So we should be getting like +3 damage, which is pretty significant, honestly. I guess the question is now, do we want to send in Tiger? It does get the Shuko buff, but might set us up for bricking next turn. I guess it's still like fine though. Go ahead and do 1 into 5, I guess. It seems like the issue is like if the chain is open. Alright, this is like a pretty whatever Stonewall. So we're gonna close chain again. I just send this in. But it seems like for whatever reason, if you're already on the active chain link, you can't like tutor cards with Zen, or it won't like show up or let you hit the UI or whatever. Very interesting. And obviously like closing chain is like pretty bad for giving them like decompose earlier. But we'll do the best here to kind of play around it, I guess. Playing Zen on hard mode a little bit, but that's okay. All right, coming in with Surgeons. Don't still think there's any real reason to block. So we'll go ahead and pay 0. Okay, pass back. Against Surgeon, a lot of times it's like pretty okay to just like pay 0 and then just see what they got. Like unless you know for a fact what they're coming at you with, like most of the time you could just pay for the extra surge unless they're amping somehow. Coming in for 2, see what they do. Hopefully they don't play a React out from Arsenal. And then we'll finish off with the CNC here. So just keep up the tempo. I think they might be trying to do like the more arcane centered strat, which means they might not be attacking insurers for maybe the entire game. I feel like that strat isn't very good in my experience. It feels like it's just kind of like once I develop out chi in the deck, it feels like once I like start redrawing into chi, that's when the game gets like very, very bad for Verdance. And it feels like this version of the deck does give me a lot of time. All right, Plow Under coming in. So this will probably be our opportunity to just use Traverse Up. No reason not to. Unfortunately, our Sounding Alarm does go away, but is what it is. All right, go ahead and throw Traverse in front of it. And then I guess we're just doing a levels turn. I don't think we want to just play out Sacred Art. We could. We develop out an extra chi in the deck, and then we get the Tiger bonus as well. Definitely worth considering. I think it might actually be correct to play Sacred Art here. Do levels Sacred Art. It's basically like the same as like levels for the normal modes. Yeah, I guess we will. I guess we just pitch. We either pitch the E-Strike or pitch the 100 wins here. I guess we maybe don't want to bottom a Tiger, so maybe pitch the E-Strike and then Sacred Art. Because I do think that cycling, like getting flip chi in our deck is very good. And like I don't really want to like redraw into Sacred Art later. All right, go ahead and grab the Chase Tail, which apparently we're allowed to do now because we're not on the combat chain, but definitely a little bit annoying here to kind of like play around that weird situation, I guess. All right, last Barkskin charge. Definitely happy to get out of the way. I'm also happy they used it without getting like the full value on it. But we'll do 1, 4, 3, 5, something. Should be pretty good. All right, more reacts makes sense. I think the thing that I like the most about this deck list is just like the 0-for-4s. I feel like 0-for-4s are kind of underrated in Zen, even if they don't like have go again. Like that's why I've been kind of a fan of like Underwhelming Best Wave, which is I think a card I first saw on like Kurama's lists. Um, but yeah, card that I kind of like just having as a tutor target that lets you preserve the tiger. They get to 3-1 Arsenal Tiger pass back here, and they're still like pretty far away from like killing us. I think the thing that like the cards that I'm most scared about in the Verdance matchup are like obviously like Felling of the Crown is just like one of their best cards in general. But Channel Millennium Tree also can be very scary with Surgent. Yeah. Healing Potion is like kind of whatever. I don't think it really helps all that much. All right, so let's start with Rising Sun Stir here and then try to Arsenal the drop for a future turn. So go ahead and gain our resources. All right, draw into another 100 wins is just maybe not ideal, but I guess we'll go ahead and pitch one. Then I'll probably just like Kakara here. Tiger. We still have chases, right? Or actually, sorry. We should hold on. We should. So because of the way Talishar is working right now, we should probably tutor first before we start the combat chain. So let's, I guess, go ahead and grab the key unleashed here, which is obviously like not what we want to be doing in a real game, but in the situation where we'll probably want to tutor first. And then we'll go ahead and play out 100 Winds, play out Tiger, and then play out the key unleashed. I guess we'll play out both Tigers maybe. There's probably a way to distribute the breakpoints a little bit better. Maybe do like Tiger, Tiger, 100 Winds. Or no, that doesn't even work. Maybe there wasn't actually a way to distribute the breakpoints. But definitely something to at least keep in mind, because we need to play a Tiger last, which means we'd have to play the 100 Winds first. But then that still puts the 2 on there. So I guess there isn't really, there isn't really a way to put buff on the Tiger. All right, we get Transcend set up for next turn, which is obviously quite nice. They keep a 4-card hand here. Would I drop and make a Zen state? I'd be kind of tempted to. 3-card hand I feel like I'm less scared of, though. Because 4-card hand to me in Verdance normally just means tree. All right, it seems like they're just going to block this out, which makes sense. But yeah, we're going to keep the tempo pretty good here. All right, go on our Arsenal drop, redraw into some of our flip chi, which is obviously quite nice. And yeah, we'll go ahead and just take this damage and see what they got. All right, Heartbeat, obviously going to be sending a lot of pings at us. We could actually just 12 pedal this if we really wanted to. Is that necessary, though? I mean, it's at least 3 value. Which is, like, kind of good, but, like, we can just, like, pay into it, too. So maybe it's not even good to Kasaya here. If anything, we should just, like, pay into it with 100 Winds, right? Yeah, because it's basically the same, right? There's no reason to pop Kasaya. We should keep the armor around. So in that case, I guess we can just pay with the redundant chi. Could also just not pay and then like get a 1 cost or something. Or we could pay and then also get a 1 cost and CNC or whatever. Sending CNC is like kind of whatever. Maybe we'll just keep the drop in Arsenal though. Try to space out our Transcends as much as possible. All right, go ahead and just pay into the AP here, just because it's kind of efficient. It's more efficient than like sending 100 Winds, for instance. All right, and then we don't Kakara here. We just get a 1 cost. So probably one of those breeds. I definitely like the idea of having two breeds in the deck. I've run into a lot of situations where I miss having the second breed anger. It's just a very solid card, just a 1 for 4. Like at its floor, it's a 2 card 6, which is like whatever, nothing to write home about. But like 1 for 4 go again, that's a 3 block is definitely worth considering, and also like makes a tiger on the back end, so like kind of keeps up the tiger chain, which is kind of cool. Definitely a card that's been like in and out. I think you can get away with one or get away with two. I think that's probably about right. I don't think I'd run like 3 of this card, but it's definitely just always pretty solid whenever I see it. It's an effect I end up like finding myself missing a lot if I like use it early and then I like want to go tutor for it because I don't have like chase or whatever. I go ahead and send the tiger for 1 and then finish on CNC, which will hopefully maybe stave off some reacts here. Obviously not pressuring Arsenal, but is what it is. It's pretty unlikely they're going to be able to felling off this hand unless they want to like pitch for staff and then felling. So that's one felling out of the way, which is also kind of curious. Curious to see if they play out another one. Okay, interesting. They're going to just double pitch for that. So they had the redundant red, I guess, in hand. Sure. So what is the most efficient thing we can do on this hand? We can do like 100 wins, drop, get another 100 wins, and then finish with like E-Strike, bottom tiger, draw. That could be pretty cool. Let's go ahead and do that, I think. Like, they're going to probably end up in a blocking pattern here. Like, we should be able to pressure the left to, like, get them low enough to the point where they might have to, like, proactively crack Healing Pot, I think. Because we do 1, 4, 5, 7, which is pretty good. We also get Breed. No, Breed doesn't do it because we have to play out the Tiger first, which is not ideal. Alright, gonna shelter this, makes sense. So now are we pressuring lethal? Alright, let's go ahead and... Oh, we have to close the chain, though, because of the stupid thing. Yes, I forgot to play around that interaction. So let's, I guess, go ahead and drop on the 100 wins. I don't think there's any way we can then get the extra 100 wins outright. Just so I'm not crazy, let's, I guess, try to do it. Oh, it works this time. Oh, weird. Okay. Well, maybe the bug has been solved. Very cool. Let's go ahead and grab, I guess, the 100 wins and then send it in. 100 wins for 5, this for 7. So we will actually pressure lethal here if we send it. So we'll take 1 card out of hand, and then they're just left with a 2-card Verdance hand, which is kind of whatever. All right, getting a tree out of them is quite nice. And then I guess we could just go for draw at this point, right? We can bottom a tiger. Ooh, drawing a chi is kind of bad, obviously, but obviously didn't know we were drawing into that. Yeah, so maybe 7 was correct, but hindsight is kind of 2020. I don't know what our likelihood of was redrawing into chi, but we did transcend a lot this game, so maybe it was a little bit higher than I thought. Like maybe it's I'm trying to guess, probably like 5 or 6 times, right? So if it's 5 or 6 times, it's maybe like a 12% chance or something out of a 40-card deck, which is definitely not nothing. All right, I guess I'll just IP chi here. No need to arsenal it, obviously. Still kind of like an okay fail state, right? Because we're kind of happy we just have chi anyways. All right, pretty good hands. We can get Breed here, and I guess like Arsenal Gust Wave. And then we can like pitch Key Unleash to send in something. Pitch Key Unleash to send in the Kakara for an extra 3. So we get Breed, we pitch it here. Kakara, Gust Wave. I guess then we Arsenal Breed, because we already have the 2 floating. I guess that makes more sense. Just try to set up Key Unleash and Arsenal, maybe. Sure. So we're not going to be able to use our hand like to full efficiency here. Mainly because we have 2 chain enders, obviously, but I think it's still fine. 2, 1, 4, 1, 4, which will still pressure a card from hand. I think this will still also pressure a card from hand. So we pressure 2 cards from hand based on them blocking with the mental block. And like 2-card Verdance hand, they're pretty unlikely to be able to kill us with like healing potions or whatever. We got a pretty substantial life lead here, I think. All right, we'll get them down to functionally 3, and then see what they got. All right, go ahead and arsenal the Unleashed, pass back. All right, another very, very solid hand. Seems like they're just going to gain a little bit of life and buffer and then send a damage, get a random arsenal. Seems pretty all right with me. We have, yet again, more Transcend, which is always nice. And we also get to, I think, develop out the last Chasen deck. So we'll go ahead and pitch the Cosmic here. 1/2/1, or sorry, 1/2/2 for Key Unleashed. I guess we can't play the Pouncing Key out this turn, but it's probably fine. Maybe we're pitching the Pouncing Key. Yeah, that seems correct. We'll have like 1 floating at the end, but that's still pretty efficient. All right, go ahead and banish. What are we going to banish here? I guess we'll banish a Felling. Oh, we probably shouldn't have banished Felling in case they went for Plume. So we probably should have banished like a non-Earth card there. But fortunately, they didn't catch it, it seems. All right, go ahead and grab the Chase here. They'll get to do 3 plus 6 should basically get there. So this will force a card, and this will force the last 2 cards. Oh, they're gonna. Okay, so they are sitting on Rampant Growth and Arsenal, which maybe is a little bit scary. So sitting on Rampant Growth and Arsenal, they do have Storm Striders up, but they can't like crack healing potions during their turn, which is at least nice. So it means we're gonna be forcing out cards here, and then getting them to 1. They may crack some healing potions and stay alive, but they're not really doing a ton with them. I feel like this is one of those games where we're drawing chi like every turn, it feels like. Right, no blocks on any of this damage. Again, they're not going to be able to do much with Rampant Growth. They can like buff the Verdance trigger, I think, which is fine. So we'll go ahead and take the damage here, and then they get to buff how much? Like 5, 6. Still fine. So take 6 damage, go to 15. Then we still are just going to be able to crack back with an insane amount of damage. So do draw go. Might as well just get 0 cost here. Guess we'll get swipe because we're not getting our Shuko trigger just yet. So do draw go. Draw another chi, which is like acceptable. I mean, whatever we're gonna do, we're probably just gonna pitch to sound the alarm anyway, so it doesn't really matter what we drew into. But definitely turning into a grindy game here. Feels like I just can't kill them, which is sometimes how it feels against Verdance, but like they are kind of out of gas at this point. Like they used up both of their healing potions just to stay alive. So like their combo range is now significantly kind of diminished. We have to do 2-1-5-5, which is also basically a strip hand. So we should be in a pretty alright spot this game. Alright, looks like they're activating Plume here. Wonder what they're gonna get. Alright, getting Fruits of the Forest maybe just to gain a little bit of life does make a little bit of sense. So functionally at 2, we still just get to send like 5 and 5 though, so it's kind of okay. It's basically like they just had like a 2 block there or whatever. Again, we're gonna be sending enough damage to where the breakpoints are not necessarily what's killing them, it's just the raw damage. Right, finish up on Sound the Alarm, take a peek at that hand. Right, it is a Pulsing Aether Life. So unfortunately, just barely kind of fallen a little bit short there. I feel like we had a pretty substantial lead. So how many chi did we actually get going in the deck that game? One, two, three, four, five. We had two in pitch, so we had 7 chi that game. That is definitely, I feel like, an above average amount of chi. Definitely feels pretty solid though. I'm definitely a fan of this list. So the one thing about Tooth and Claw that's like a concern to me, which I don't know, I might need to play test it a little bit more. But obviously, if Zen is leaving this weekend, I might not be able to really get the time to play test it. But with Tooth and Claw, I'm curious that in matchups like these where you want to like keep up the pressure, if you're able to like use Tooth and Claw as proactively as you like want to, right? Because like the way you want to use this card is like 0 for 4, 0 for 5, right? Like it's almost never getting like the +3 mode, unless you have like strides and are able to like set that up. But in matchups like this where you want to run like tie flippers or like I'm trying to think of their other, I guess like even into I guess like Aurora or whatever, right? Which you probably maybe are running quick dodge instead. But like into matchups where like you want to always have like your foot on the gas, does Tooth and Claw help you? I guess that's kind of like the question I have, or like the reason I hesitate to kind of like adopt the Tooth and Claw lifestyle here is maybe that like the brick percentage is pretty bad on this card, but I don't know if that's actually true. That might be something that I would have to test more. But again, Zen is not long for this world, so we're just gonna kind of enjoy him while he kind of lasts here. Yep, but again, that was Naib's deck list from the Battle-Hardened Milwaukee. This is from the Team Classic Constructed event. So he did a really nice run there. And also we had Raven Williams deck, which we didn't get to play today, but we might play tomorrow or some other point this week. But definitely another very good list from a very good player. And yeah, both of these players very, very solid. Again, making it to the finals in a Team Classic Constructed event is a very impressive feat. And yeah, I think that like I've said for a lot of Zen, like I think Zen is ultimately like a 40 card deck with like spice added basically as the last 20 cards. And I think that even to this day, I feel like that still kind of holds true where you basically have like like you have your spice cards, you have your cards that are like your main deck consistency cards. And I feel like it does kind of go to show like the level of like deck building skill expression that Zen can kind of output, which I'm gonna I think miss a little bit in Fab is like this still feels like a deck that's like largely unsolved to me, which is just very, very cool. Like I feel like this deck is more unsolved than I feel like any other deck, which makes it kind of unique, at least in my little Zen heart. Yeah, but anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.